Okay, I will call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. for our second public hearing on the 2020. Before I start, I want to thank the school district and particularly Isaac England for setting up the sound system and recording for us tonight. It's a pleasure to have him here doing that. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Tim Hale.
Here.
Here. George McKee. Robert Yunt is listening to the meeting, Mr. Mayor, so he is present. He just can't, he won't be able to communicate during the meeting. Moki 2.
Here.
Jesse Sumner.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Is in Michigan with the hockey team. And so he's assisting there. So we'll say hello to Mr. Yunt right now. Is there any changes to the agenda? Our second public hearing on the 2022 budget, the final ones in Sioux Valley next week. See no changes. The agenda is approved. Pledge of Allegiance. How about Madam Mayor from Wasilla? Lead us in pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're at audience participation. This is your opportunity to speak to the Assembly. We will have openings on the public hearing for the budget. So if you're speaking about a particular budget item, save it for that particular time. But if you wish to speak on any subject to the Assembly, this is now is the time. You get 3 minutes. Are we doing telephonic tonight, Madam?
No.
No telephonic, so just anybody in person in the audience who wishes to speak to the Assembly on the audience participation. Now is the time.
List right here.
Oh, we got a list. Terry Langholz. Welcome.
Sit here.
Yep, right there. Your mic is on. Go ahead and have a seat. State your name and 3 minutes.
My name is Terry Langholz. I live out in Kinnick. I groom the trails for the Iditarod Trail, and I'm here to see if we can get some budget to get a crossing on the Iditarod Trail for safety for all the dog mushers and everybody that they use they plow Burma Road now. 3 or 4 foot berms on either side. You drop down on there, but the dog teams, there's a lot of juniors that train on it, and they a lot of them, their parents have to go out and check the road crossing before they get there because, as you know, the front of the dogs are 50, 60 feet out in front of the sled. So when you come up to that road, you can't see any cars coming. And with the population growing the way it is and people going out to the prison and doing stuff like that, we need a crossing on that because a lot of people are starting to use that road. And a lot of people that are moving here don't know about recreation people using that. So they go flying down that road. So without a crossing, we need a culvert or crossing right on Burma Road on the trail. So there's lots and lots of people that train, not just, and snow machinists use that trail, and a lot of dog mushers, and even young dog mushers. The junior Iditarod uses that trail, and the kids are 14 to 17 years old, so they train on that. So it's real dangerous for them to try to cross a busy road with the dog team. So. All righty.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Yep.
I think that item is tab O item that he's talking about, the Burma Road crossing. So we had Hunter Keefe. Welcome. Grab a seat, your mic's on, and just state your name. You can pull your mask down if you want.
Awesome. I'm here to talk about the Burma Road crossing as well, but if it's part of the budget, should I just save it for then?
You could go ahead now.
Go ahead.
Talk about the same thing. So.
I'm one of the dog mushers that uses the trail to train, and I definitely think crossing would be beneficial and important. I've had trouble on there before. The first time I crossed it, I ended up in a tangle and a big old mess. It turned out I was all safe and stuff, but something that happens often, especially to mushers who are new to the trail. So young mushers or people who come out to run the races that go across it and haven't crossed it before, it can be pretty dangerous, especially if you haven't crossed it before. So I think it would be beneficial to have a safer way to get across.
Okay, and you are Hunter Key for the record?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And Bonnie Quill, Matsu CVB is here. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Assembly, Manager Brown, I just have a couple of quick updates on tourism for you, okay? Today, our board had an hour-long Zoom meeting with the Lieutenant Governor on tourism impacts from the cruise ship ban. It's part of his 2-week listening tour throughout the state in developing priorities for the governor's 100 tourism revitalization plan. 7 board members shared the devastating impacts in the loss of 2 cruise seasons. We are encouraged by the governor's announcement of a $5 million tourism marketing campaign to encourage independent travel to Alaska. We hope this can be implemented quickly. The expansion nationally of vaccine availability has greatly increased traveler confidence. This week, the Matsu CVB direct mailed 35,000 Matsu Valley visitor guides to leads from the Alaska travel industry. That's to high potential visitors that are looking for information to come this summer. And beginning Saturday, May 1st, Matsu CVB is partnering with the Alaska Travel Industry Association, their Show Up for Alaska campaign, with our own 4-month-long Show Up for the Valley. We reached out to our 3 chamber partners, Palmer, Wasilla, and Talkeetna, and we will highlight a different community each month. The largest in-state marketing campaign, including new creative in print, radio, streaming TV, social media, digital, and video. So we are hopeful for our in-state residents, their visiting friends and family, and hopefully some independent fly drive visitors to get us through to next year. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm a little worried about the tourist season, but I don't know what I could do about it. I just hope it comes around. Okay, anybody else on audience participation? Otherwise, we're going to go to the public hearing on Mr. Haber. Are you going to speak? Go ahead. We even have a chair for you. I know that's hard for you to conform to normal practices. I think we got a hockey game going on behind us, but so, Mr. Haberman, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me okay? My name is Eugene Carl Haberman, Alaska resident for approximately 43 years, 20 of those years Anchorage resident, and currently a Valley resident. I follow the public process. When the public process is done appropriately, decision made by the governing body is more likely in the public interest. We are still dealing with COVID, but unfortunately particularly how the Matsu Bureau handles COVID, they seem to go more and more to loosen the pattern of not dealing with it appropriately. Most recently at a Borough Planning Commission, Alex Strong announced there was a communication to loosen the mask scenario. I requested a copy of it, and it was so to say the borough manager was noting that effective May 1st, they would loosen the restrictions on mask wearing in borough facilities. So how can that be? It's happening. More of the same. Particularly in the Valley has been pretty much resistant politically the politicians and bureaucrats to being responsible, and especially confusing freedom and responsibility. There's a sign outside the door of this building. It says masks are required. There's a sign outside the door in the Borough Building, masks required. But when you look at that memorandum earlier that was released by the borough, there were exceptions. The end result is it's more of the same. And also, more and more cases, a real high case count in the valley, and a significant high case count of people in the hospital in the valley. Yes, Anchorage did loosen the restrictions by social distancing. There's still a mess. But I believe it was under pressure during the mayoral election. And a result of a mob taking over the assembly chambers since they reopened the chambers, which, as you know, I attend those meetings. I'm the rare voice there to speak on masks, but many people who usually attend those meetings in the past are fearing to speak there, not just physically there, but on the phone. So it's left with a one-side false narrative of what's going on with COVID. Now, I also like to note is this, the governor's position of saying, come to Alaska, market Alaska, and you'll get vaccinated here. How ridiculous can that be? How irresponsible can that be? If you're going to get vaccination, you get it before you get here and not market as a selling pitch. The one thing I said before this body, back approximately a year ago, the best way to sell and open up Alaska and convince people to visit Alaska is to prove it's safe. But the actions are showing in the reverse, and that's the position in closing why Canada took a stand on cruise ships. Thank you.
Little kids hockey practice, they'll try to go somewhere else.
Oh, the clerk was just telling me there's a junior hockey practice right behind us. So you hear a few nicks and scrapes. I'm gonna try to move though. Okay, anybody else want to speak to the assembly on audience participation? Okay, we'll take you one at a time. Yeah, I have a list for the public hearing on, so that'll be coming up next. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sim Smith. I'm from Big Lake. I just want to speak about the Burma Road crossing. You know, it's dangerous. It's getting more and more dangerous every. I've been running crossing the road there for more than 30 years, and it used to be you could just cross the road and nobody worried about it. It's a dangerous place to cross. It's a bad place to cross in a lot of different ways. By the time my kids they're 5 and 7 now, by the time they're 14, 15, they're crossing there by themselves. It's going to be complete. But just need that crossing. And if you want to put some money into something that's going to pay back, our trails are one of the most important things around here. Think about that. Nobody comes up to drive Burma Road, but a lot of people come up to run the Iditarod Trail on a tourist team behind dogs. That's not something you do now with the tourists behind you, with a dog team of their own. They don't know what they're doing coming up on a road crossing like that out of Kinnick, which was sometimes. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Appreciate that. Anybody else, sir? Come on forward. Just sit down and state your name for the record, and you got 3 minutes to.
Yes, sir. Hi, my name is Neil DeShano, and I want to caveat to what the gentleman said about the masks and the vaccines and all that stuff. And I think if we didn't feel well, we stayed home. We got our medicine from our moms, our dads, whatever, and we dealt with our illnesses. I'm not saying that the vaccine or the virus isn't real, but I see that everywhere you go, people are wearing masks or they're not wearing masks. What is the difference if someone's not wearing a mask 5 feet from you and the other guy is not wearing a mask 5 feet from you? Sir, you just pulled your mask up as I came over here. It was below your nose. Who cares? Why do we do this stuff? If you don't feel well and you think a mask should save you from public, don't go in public. Stay out of it. We are human beings. We're Americans. We're going to go where we think we can go, where we feel we can go, where we're going to protect our children and our family, our loved ones from this stuff. But just to go and put a mask on for the public, for view or for display, for the camera, that's all it is. You don't like it, stay home. Stay home, wear your mask at your house. How many times have you seen a person in a car alone with a mask on and you chuckle, look at this idiot? How many times have you seen 2 people in a car with 1 person with a mask on? It makes no sense. Have you seen the stuff, for the nose cone? For a nose cone, so you can drink and eat, but you have a nose cone on your face. How much can we take? How far are you going to take this stuff and go, okay, and accept it because media tells you to? Stop this stuff. We look like a bunch of idiots. Everybody here should not have a mask on, or you should be home. If you feel like I'm a threat to you, don't come to a public place. Don't go to Burger King. Don't go to Walmart because they're not wearing them there. But yet you here are wearing them. I'm not wearing a mask. You should all be running right now. You should all be running for the doors. Sorry to tell you this, but anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Sit down. Sit down. Okay. Anybody else under audience? We're on audience participation, and we're going to be talking about, I imagine, the Burma Road project under the public hearing. So go ahead, come on up, sir.
Hello, my name is Robert Sexton. I represent the Kinnick 200 Joe Reddington Senior Memorial Sled Dog Race. And I would like to see this project on Burma Road done because of, we would typically have 50 dog teams going through there for safety reasons alone. We really need that. That's all I got to say about it. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anybody else under audience participation? I see a hand up back there. Come on up. There you go. Just sit down and state your name, and you got 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Raquel Duchesneau. I used to work out at the Little Sioux, and the only thing that I can say Alaska loves to do is wait until we have an issue. And so the Burma Road culvert, it would be best to put it in for safety so that we don't have something that cannot be undone.
Thank you very much. Anybody else under audience participation? There we go.
My name is Jerry. I live out at Kinnick. I do believe that when the prison came in, people weren't aware of the amount of traffic the Burma Road is going to get. Since that has happened, that traffic on that road has increased at a very dangerous level with dog mushing. The assembly has talked in the past, and they've decided that they do want dog mushing to be a part of to support the dog mushers, and we need to do what we can to make the trail safe and to make the public safe. And nobody wants to get hit either on a dog team or in a car, and we just need to do what we can.
Thank you. Anybody else? Audience participation? Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Lance Scanlon, and I live off of Burma, so I'm familiar with the need of it, as everybody else here is. I just want to echo what everybody said, about safety. It's not just for the dogs and the mushers, it's for the people that drive too. The road is being developed. It's actually, the borough's done a good job maintaining it. There's a lot more traffic and residential building going on out there. So it's going to be, more and more high volume, I guess, as time progresses. So I just would ask you to consider it. Thank you.
Q. Anybody else under audio participation? Okay, I'll close out audience participation at this time, and we have reached the budget public hearing. Madam Clerk, please read that ordinance into the record, please.
Ordinance 21021, an ordinance appropriating operating funds, enterprise funds, education operating fund, and capital funds, establishing the rate of levy for all borough functions for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2021, and ending June 30th, 2022, and setting the surcharge rate for the wireline and wireless enhanced 911 systems for the period of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. I will open our second public hearing at the Menard Center. And we have a list we'll start with, and then if anybody else wishes to follow up talking, we'll come right after the list. Bill Kendig is first up.
Hi, my name's Bill Kendig. I'm president of the Connect Fairview Community Council, and I'm representing them. I've been in this community, and it is in District 5, for 35 years, and I've watched it expand and grow. And I'm speaking on the Burma Road issue. It is a health and safety, but the history of Alaska winter recreation, it's not just dog mushing, there's snow machines, there's skiers, there's the winter bikers, and it takes all year to train events. Okay, it takes the whole winter. So we're not just talking about a few days with a little race here and there, and the snow machiners running out into the bush from there. I mean, that's and the prison is an issue. There have been a couple accidents. And somebody spoke earlier. The borough was out, Public Works, this winter. We came to a temporary solution till we could really address this thing this time of year. And Mookie was out there, and we resolved the issue for the junior Iditarod. There's a tug bar 150 dog race, and not to mention the snow machiners that have to groom the trails. But it is a real health and safety issue since the prison is out there, and a lot of the people working there are from Big Lake, Houston, Willow, and they're flying up and down this road at shift change. And it's really getting dangerous. So it's a big health and safety issue. I hope we can move forward with this. Anybody, all of us, but anybody that wants to go out, you just call me, and I'll drag Mookie with me, and it give you a better understanding of what you're dealing with. And you heard, and the dog mushers aren't kidding. I mean. On the bigger races, there could be 15 dogs in the team, and that stretches out pretty far. So it is a big problem. It is a health and safety issue, and we appreciate all the help you can give us.
Thank you, Mr. Kendig. That'd be 8 feet per pair. So if you're 15, you got quite a few feet out in front of you. So, all right, I better not quit talking and have Brian Hansen come up.
We provide written testimony too after the fact. All right, my name is Brian Hansen. I am a borough property owner out in Willow. Own a little bit of land up there, and I live full-time in Anchorage, but I use the Iditarod Trail on average 4 days a week, and we cross Burma Road on average 20 to 40 times a week. So each way would be a crossing. I'm only one user. There's many other dog mushers and trail users, bikers, hikers, snow machines, etc. On a typical weekend, I might see 20 other trail users out there, whether it's a dog team or whatever, and that's just on a run out and back. And most of the locals that live in Kinnick 7 days a week, unlike me, They don't go out on the weekend. They run during the week. So that doesn't even include those folks. I'm fully in support of a separated grade crossing. I think we have a pipe in the budget or whatever it is, it's a separated crossing for the National Historic Iditarod Trail at Burma Road. This is long overdue, and whether it costs 600,000 or 2 million, I think it's money well spent. I ran dogs crossing Burma Road in the late 80s and the early 90s myself as a junior musher. You know, back then, it was basically a road out in the middle of nowhere that nobody used. My memory might be foggy, but I don't believe the borough maintained it. And if they did, they kind of gave up toward the end of the year. You know, Mother Nature kind of took over. So we didn't ever have to worry about it. We did have somebody there during races to make sure we got across the road, but we didn't have cars really to worry about. Using the trail now is super dangerous. The snow berm can be 10 feet high. You can't see anything. We were able to get some signs out there, not me personally, but a bunch of people in this room. A week after the signs went up, we got a 14-foot berm, and I got pictures on my phone if you want them, across the trail. To quote Terry Langholtz in a 2019 article, I think it was, you know, the new people move in and the first thing they do is chain up the trail. It doesn't, you know, that's what happens when new people move in. So we need to get a dedicated crossing there. Somebody mentioned traffic. Traffic from 2005 went doubled on the south end of the road, and it went up 500% on the north end of the road. So 150 to 350 average daily volume. That's before the prison opened. There hasn't been a single traffic count out there since then. I think that's frankly ridiculous, but you know, the traffic's up. There's lots of users. Support the crossing, whatever it costs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen. Okay, we don't cheer, okay? Crystal Hansen.
Hi, my name is Crystal Hansen. I'm a junior musher, so I use this trail 4 times a week during the winter. He kind of gave you the numbers on that. So I just wanted to tell you guys a story. One time this winter, while I crossed the road, there was a musher on the other side directly, so I had to stop right on them because it's too dangerous to stop on the road, which resulted in our dogs being side by side because there was another musher right in front. Super dangerous because dogs can be aggressive. It was another junior musher. It can be difficult to handle. It also resulted in me breaking my brake because I had to go over their snow hook. So this didn't only be a safety issue, but like a long-term safety issue for me, which is why I think it's super important that we have a separate graded crossing where I can feel, and other junior mushers can feel safe stopping on. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Hunter Keefe, on the audience participation, if you want to, you could go again, but you can waive it too. Okay. Barbara Reddington.
I am Barbara Reddington. I am a mom of mushers, and my husband has mushed across on the Iditarod Trail many, many years. I am also a board member of the Junior Iditarod. And we had the race starting out this year at Kinnick. I want to say thank you to the borough for coming out in February recognition of the safety with crossing Burma Road. And also thank you to the state officials who came out with the Matsu Borough signage that was immediately put on warning traffic of dog teams to watch out for. And thank you for recognizing the safety issue nowadays versus with the growth and population. And I also have a letter from a son who couldn't be here. And we really need this underpass as a traffic and more. And also with the snow berms, it is getting to the point where it is unsafe to cross. I mentored junior mushers and they use his dogs as well as himself and trainers, and this is getting difficult to safely cross due to the increasing traffic on Burma Road. And also thank you for the safety concern, Ryan Reddington. And I know I echo the sentiments of the safety issue with Burma Road, and thank you for your addressing this issue and hoping safely and properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate hearing from you. Richard Plack.
I'm Richard Plack. I am a board member of the Junior Iditarod, also the trail manager of the Junior Iditarod. And you've heard all the safety factors. All of us mushers can tell you horror stories out there at Burma Road crossing. During the race, we always have volunteers that go out there to be safety flaggers and stuff, but that's only one day out of many 365 days a year that we're out there training and crossing. As what Brian said, they're out there 4 times a week. Some are out there, their dogs. So that's, we always have studies on road usage, but has anybody tried to survey a trail? You know, how many times does the musher, you know, how much cross Burma Road? That's, you know, a big safety. We could have a tunnel or a crossing of some sort that we wouldn't have to worry about the cars coming. Just recently, I heard that the state's putting up more land out there, so that's just going to increase the traffic on Burma Road. And got plans to do that. You know, eventually there's going to be a bridge across to Anchorage, and that's going to really be a mess when that goes in. But need for safety factors, we need a culvert. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming in. Is it Eric Kine or Kelly, like I said, Eric Kelly. Welcome. Didn't have my glasses on when I took the first shot at it.
Hello, my name's Eric Kelly. I live out in Kinnick, and I train dogs on the Iditarod Trail on a regular basis. Probably throughout a winter, we cross that road 300 times. I could probably look at my spreadsheet and tell you how many times we crossed this year. But it's a dangerous spot to cross Burma Road there. You know, as the season goes on, the snow gets deeper, the snow berms get deeper, we're taller, and the dog teams get larger. And as some of you may know, it's hard to stop a dog team on a dime. And it's also hard to stop a car on a snow-covered road. So it's kind of more a matter of when, not if. It's going to happen there that we don't want to think about that. But go in. I mean, it's not just any trail we're talking about. It's the Iditarod Trail. It's not, you know, it's part of the Alaska history. And I'd like to see it be safe for mushers to continue, as well as snow machiners and all other trail users. So I just like to make it safer for all of us.
Sherry DeCoursey.
Hello. I'm Sherry DeCoursey, and this was my first winter of mushing in Knik, and it was wonderful. Every veteran musher I spoke with warned me of one thing, and that was the Burma Road crossing and how incredibly dangerous it was. And they were right. The kennel that I run out of, the kennel owner actually sometimes, depending on the time of day I would run, would even want me to just drop a note on my phone and say, crossed it, okay. And so the first time I did cross it, I understood his concern. After crossing that intersection that first time, I realized that for the musher looking to the left or right on that road, partly because there's a turn on one side, also because the snow berms are so large. And stopping the dogs at that intersection, as others have said, can be very hard to stop the team. And even if you stop, you're 50 or 60 feet back where you still can't see the road and what might be coming towards you. And it's just as challenging for the folks on the road because they have blind turns. At nighttime, there's no lighting, snowy, icy conditions. It's just really an issue waiting to happen. So exponentially, if you think about a dog team and turns left or right onto Burma Road erroneously, right? They're supposed to cross over, but there have been instances of the dogs actually running down the road itself. And so in that case, they're running towards oncoming traffic, could be at night, low visibility. I had a permission from a few folks actually to just fellow mushers who couldn't attend tonight, including Becky Rowan, Casey Randall, and Katie Lloyd, have all had situations where they've wound up on Burma Road going against traffic. And it's not like you can plant a snow hook on a plowed road. And so when you finally do manage to get the team stopped, then you have to figure out how to turn the team around on a very narrow road to get back to Iditarod Trail so that you can then continue on your way, hopefully, if the dogs respond the right way. I know Casey Randall and one other person recently that crossed Burma Road actually and went for about a 3-mile joyride. And incredibly terrifying because the road was ice, there was no stopping capability, and it was just really a treacherous. Well, am I done? Okay. So obviously a collision between a car and a sled dog team or any other user on the trail would be gruesome. And the solution really does lie in an over or an underpass of some sort so that we can continue to honor the tradition of mushing in this area and the Iditarod Trail, but not see a disaster and a tragedy come out of not having the right safety things in place. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we have Anna Barrington. Welcome.
Hi. Hi, I'm Anna Barrington. I'm a musher out in the Knik area. Mushed there with my twin sister, Christy. She couldn't be here tonight, but she gave me a written statement. Then also Tom Dolmeyer, who is an emergency surgeon. He's working today, so he wasn't able to come. So he also gave me a written statement. And Tom would like to say that he's been running dogs as a family for a hobby for nearly 20 years. Currently, he has a 40-dog kennel in Knik and have owned the property since 2007. My 16-year-old son and my 14-year-old daughter also run sled dog teams with me. The Iditarod trails are only access for long-distance trails, and this requires that we take our teams across Burma Road. When winter hits, we are crossing Burma Road or just about every run. The road crossing has little warning, is often icy, and has poor visibility due to forest and snow berms. We have had several close calls with vehicles, enough so that I do not allow my children to cross the trail on their own. It is very difficult to stop a team of sled dogs at a moment's notice, and a collision with a vehicle would be devastating. I would be greatly in favor of a protected culvert road crossing in this dangerous location. Thank you for your consideration. And then also, my sister had written something too, which we both agreed that we run dogs out there. We're crossing that trail night and day, all times of day. So even if we try to practice like cars do, we stop, we look both ways and cross the street, it doesn't matter, because I can stop my team, I can run all the way up to the road crossing, I can look both ways, it looks good. By the time I run back to my team, pick up my snow hooks and call my dogs up to go, there can be cars coming around the corner. So we're trying to be safe, but we can't see. So like I said, it's night and day traffic, people coming out there. And then with all the events that happen out there with people training for Iron Dog and the Iditarod Invitational and junior races and the Tug 150 and the Kinnick 200 and the Willow 300 also run out there, that a lot of people come before the race to go do some training runs. And if they're not familiar with the area, this road crossing is going to sneak up on them, and then there's going to be big time problems. And there's just a lot more as far as dog teams and people practicing go at that. We need something safe before something bad happens.
How early in, how early in the season are you crossing Burma? Even in September, October with fall training?
If it's froze up, we'll go.
Yeah.
We'll try it. It might be with small teams or something, but if it's froze up, we'll try it.
Right, that early.
Yeah, but if
Okay.
it's biking, we'll go anytime we can.
Okay, thank you. Christie's not here, and Tom Nomeyer. Dan Huttonen.
My name is Dan Huttonen, and I'm here to speak to the Burma Road crossing issue as well. I am one of the people that got my dog team run over at Burma Road crossing. And I'm no longer a musher, but I can speak to the issue a little bit. When I first started mushing and crossing Burma Road with the dogs, it was in the late 80s. Then the road itself. So it really wasn't about all you'd see out there other than dog teams. It seems to me that it's really a good time to take a look at this issue seriously and to decide whether or not in this part of the borough as an important activity. You've got the railroad grade has already accommodated the trail with the crossing, and this is really a bottleneck. We're going to have private property it's just going to be an encore. I think if we don't get this a safe trail crossing established, that the rest of it's going to probably be moot. And so you don't know. When you're running a full team of 12 to 16 dogs, your leaders are like 80 feet out in front of you. Daylight or twilight, you can't see headlights of cars. And that's what happened to me. And so you don't know. I mean, half your dog team's across the road before you realize it's too late. I think really the time is the issue for the long term. Expensive, or probably write off that part of the trail system, as a serious element. That's all I have.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Now we're going to have John Brodigan. And prior to the start of the meeting, Madam Clerk and I are giving John Brodigan 5 minutes instead of 3 because he flew all the way from New Mexico and he's representing 2 organizations. So he came a long ways.
Well, can I take my mask off? Thank you. You might want to see my face. Anyways, my name is John Brodigan, and I'm a former board member of the Kinnick So, still a member of that. And I'm the vice president of the Iditarod Trailblazers, the Connect chapter. And I've been involved with that trail, I guess, for about 30-some years. And our organizations, both organizations, have gotten money to improve on it. And we got a bridge at Fish Creek, and we're talking about a summer trail out to there. And the big plan was to go all the way and keep going. And I know about that crossing, and I remember it. I wish we could go back because you didn't have to look, you didn't have to worry. Like everybody said, the borough started plowing it, and that's where the problem started. And I'm glad I'm no longer running dogs out there. I probably get run over, you know, but serious issue. Now we got a National Historic Trail, the Iditarod, with great potential into the future, and we need to make it safe. And I didn't write anything down. You know, I'm just kind of speaking off the top of my head. But I watched that trail, and what everybody says is true. You cannot cross that thing safe. It's just a matter of time. And I don't want to come to another meeting when something bad happens there. And the mushers, the junior mushers, they're growing up now. And I got friends that got kids that they're going to get into it. And they have to cross that road. And we need something there. So I like to see that happen. Like I said, I don't want to go to a meeting after something bad happens. So I didn't use my time up, I guess, but.
How many miles is it from KGB to when you cross Burma Road or Kinnick Lake?
Well, it's about 10, 11 miles, I think, right in there. Yeah.
So the flow is all east-west?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. And beyond that point, you got the Iditarod National Historic Trail with a surveyed 400-foot right-of-way. You know, past there is good for now, but it's just that point there where it crosses Burma Road. And for years, we've been talking about it. It's all come to a head. So we got to do something about it. It ain't safe for the mushers, ain't safe for the fat bikers, ain't safe for snow machines, really. So we really need to get something done with this. And, thank you.
Thank you for coming all the way from New Mexico to testify to the assembly.
Well, they flew me up here.
Oh, they flew, you got a free ticket now, that's,
I was
there we
coming
go.
back anyway. I came back.
Well, thank you. Okay, we got to sign up. Nick Petta.
Hi, I'm Nick Petit. I'm Iditarod dog musher. Use that trail quite a lot. Go across it, go over the hump, go over the berm, break your runner on the way to the finish line. You got to fix that. Then you know, it's not your fault. But it'd be great if we had a nice, smooth transition across there. But it's not just one place. There's really two crossings at Burma. And I think a lot of the issues that come up with people getting on the road back, because it's kind of hard to depict if you're not familiar with it, where exactly the ramp off is. So I think there's two spots to look at it with the Burma crossing, but definitely need to do something over there. I've been mushing there for about 10 years now, going across, and just in the 10 years I've been going across, I've seen quite a bit more traffic, and every year is different for snow levels. This year we had a lot of snow and zero visibility going across there. So, thank you.
Okay, that's all we have on the sign-up list. Does anybody else wish to speak to Scanlon? You could talk about any other issue on the budget if you'd like, but Mr. Reddington, come on forward.
I'm Ray Reddington Jr. I grew up in Kinnick. I got a home right on Kinnick Lake. And as growing up in Kinnick, a lot of people forget it used to be called Point McKenzie. Now, when you drive around, you see everything that's Point McKenzie. So it's really growing up out there with the prison and a lot of people trying to move out there. And I see land out there is coming up for sale. And we got the gas refinery out there. And we got Nugent's Ranch and a lot of other places. So, and it's surprising once you drive past us on the Burma Road where we cross, how built up it is. I mean, it is all paved highway and it's right there. It's only a couple from where we're crossing, and there's a through there. Shift change is incredible. You know, they get 3 shift change there a day at the prison, and then we get to play dodgeball there with the cars. But like my dad, and there's a bunch of us that's really been running dogs out, and we won't run during the day because we slow down the road there and look for the car headlights at night. So you try to either get out of there in the morning, come back in the evening, just so you can avoid the traffic. And then since I live right there on the Kinnick Lake, I get to watch all the dog teams that come in from afar. You know, there's in Sweden, and we got them from all over, you know, Canada, and they all think, oh, we can go run in Kinnick. It's just, and then I usually get a phone call saying, where am I? You know, I'm out here and there's cars and roads and things like that. And they come to train at a Kinnick on the National Historic Trail where they got to go up and over snow berms and crossing the road and things like that. And I'd really like to thank Moki for coming out there. And, you know, as soon as the borough, you know, seen that, we had signs there immediately. I mean, there was no messing around with getting us some signage out there, and that's greatly appreciated. And I really hope for the future of the trail that some form of way to cross there safely. I mean, there's skiers and bikers and snow machines. We got kids on snow machines and a lot of skiers. I mean, skiers are really in Kinnick Lake. I mean, they travel out there and going very far, but they're going far. And Terry said earlier that he's grooming that trail, and you know, we got a nice trail and we do all that there in Kinnick and stuff on our own.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Anybody else on any issue on the budget? Mr. Haberman, there is a chair there for you. Twice I've missed.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. My name is Eugene Carl Haberman. I represent myself. I follow the public process. When the public process is done appropriately, a decision made by the governing body is more likely in the public interest. You're having a meeting tonight on the budget. This is the second hearing that you're having the budget. I addressed concern at the last meeting because when was that budget released to the public? Approximately 5 days before the first public hearing. The website, even on the 20th, I believe, on Tuesday, I was at a school board meeting, and Wednesday night, the link wasn't connecting. It became connected on Thursday. And I reported that to you last Tuesday. An example. Second is, this is the second time you've been in this facility, and the other one was on a Saturday. And on the agenda, it said You cannot call in physically here. The standard for your meetings has been, particularly because of COVID, has been the opportunity, because the valley is a huge area, a big distance for people to reach you and communicate with you. And they've had an opportunity at those meetings in Palmer where they can call in. But who can speak to you now? Only the people in this room. Is that right? No. You set a standard, you have to be consistent with that standard. If you want to prove it, great. But you don't go backwards, and that's what you're doing. Okay, mind you, on some of the elements I said, I called for a federal investigation of mismanagement of the port over the years. As far as the budget, I called a zero funding of the port and called for the full support and backing of the Port of Alaska that's in Anchorage. That's where the direction of the state should be, in the port there. That affects us, and we need that port and need to support that port. You've shown, and the previous administrations have shown, mismanagement and failure to deal with the issue. That's why I called for, and speak twice at least on this, for federal investigation. Your silence is the same old thing, silence. I also called for the frontiersmen. I believe in the freedom of press, the zero funding of the frontiersmen. Why? The advertising they get is a significant portion of their operation. The end result is, over the years, they have been consistently, very rarely do they ever, when they report, they're giving you a soapbox, and the people, forget them. It's tailored to make it sure that when you pay them, there's less likely going to have any criticism of what you're doing, so the people can hear. And I add a footnote to that. If you're giving money to the Palmer Free Radio, zero that too. Now, as far as the issue, can't say much on the COVID except this. Regarding, in closing comment on the remark that was said despicably, as far as not regarding to audience participation, you know what I mean, that I should stay home. Well, let me say this. This room is a way for people, this place is a place for people to be able to feel comfortable and welcomed. And by not complying with COVID, you've made it a situation where people are being told they're not welcome. And remind you, the one who spoke earlier, you're confusing freedom with responsibility. Thank you.
Okay, I love it when you come to meetings, so thank you. And the thing about the frontiersmen, folks, don't worry about that. We're required to have notice of our meetings and things in the frontiersmen. So I don't think it's such a horrible thing because it's required by law. And anybody else in the audience wish to speak we're at public hearing? Come forward, just grab a seat, state your name.
My name is TJ Stanton, and I'm want to talk about the Burma Road crossing. When I first started mushing, that's where we went, and there was a big cottonwood tree that crossed the trail. You had to duck under, and that got my adrenaline going because I knew the Burma crossing was coming up right there, and you couldn't see it. Even then, it was a low snow level year, but you had trees on each side, so you couldn't see if traffic was coming. And to go against that, just like having a headlamp to like flash for the road, you're not always going to keep your headlamp on the road as you're walking up to look. You're going to look at your dogs and you're going to have your head down. And in like what was said earlier, when you're coming back, you still have that time in between where you're not going to know if any traffic's coming. So I think it is a big safety issue, and it is better to act now before something bad does happen.
Sir, anybody else wish to speak to this? Welcome, sir. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Bert. I'm Steve Flodine, and I've run the Iditarod Trail from mid-70s through mid-90s before I got out of dogs, but my kids ran it also a lot. And they also ran in Chugiak on the trails at Beach Lake. My one son was actually hit by a car there, and it wrapped the dogs all the way. Fortunately, the car was going really slow, maybe 5 miles an hour when it hit him. But it wrapped our dogs and him all the way around the car. He wasn't hurt, but he was traumatized. The dogs
all lived, so that was a good thing. But it does happen, and if the car didn't go in. So I think it's really important that you some consideration. I have 2 grandchildren that are running dogs now, and they run out the out the Iditarod Trail. So I'm concerned for their safety. So I think that's about all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Flodine. Appreciate that. Anybody else wish to speak to the assembly? Come on forward, sir.
Lance Garrett. I run motor grader out there. I grade the road. And just for what it's worth, it's very dangerous. Just want to speak my part. It's quite dangerous. I know a lot about that area. And it's pretty simple to put a crossing there. I think it's.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Talk to the assembly. If not, I'm going to close out this public hearing. We're going to move to Sioux Valley and continue. And so, Assemblyman Bovee, could you move us at this time?
I move to continue the public hearing for ordinance 21-021 to May 6, 2021.
Any objection by Assembly members? Seeing no objection, we will continue the public hearing till, what was the date? May 6th? May 6th, it'll be at Sioux Valley High School, farther up the road in the northern part of the valley. So this is, our first one is in Palmer at our normal assembly meeting place. This one here, and then the third one's up in Sioux Valley. So we do try to spread these out to take testimony from the public on the budget. So, okay, let's take comments. Mr. Brown, did you have some comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Just a quick update for the assembly on the community enrichment program. So you've seen some emails coming in. I just kind of wanted to give you some quick context and background. So up until about 2009, the community, back then it was known as the Community Schools Program. It was previously funded and managed by the school district, programming in various places across the borough. And the borough picked up some of the program in the 2009. However, instead of conducting the programs ourselves, it was developed as a grant program to provide funding for organizations to conduct after-school type educational programming in their communities. The grant program was called the Community Enrichment Program. The Community Enrichment grant funds were supposed to be short-term to get the programs up and running so they could become financially self-sufficient. Today, they only cover a small fraction of their costs through user fees. The only communities that have participated are Willow, Trapper Creek, and Talkeetna. The fiscal year, $27,500 was. Talkeetna received $20,000 of this amount, which basically pays a school district employee to run the program. Willow received $1,290. Beyond Talkeetna, participation in the program by Trapper Creek and Willow has been inconsistent over the past several years. So I guess I would conclude by saying this is an educational program. I would submit that it might be a better fit to steer this type of programming back to the school district, giving recent CARES Act and stimulus funding for after-school and summer programming that's being advanced by the U.S. Department of Education. Another concern in providing this funding is that it's currently just one community, while others may have that quick background for you as you consider that you're receiving. And then secondly and lastly, we did send an email out to the assembly today, and for the public, there's a press release out that the International Olympic Committee for the Arctic Winter Games did award the 2024 Arctic Winter Games to the Mat-Su Borough. So that has been officially announced today. So I just wanted to share that update. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Bropoulos, Madam Clerk.
I just wanted to thank Isaac and Kingman again for their help, and we'll see you up north on the 6th.
Okay. Comments? Mr. Two? Mr. Hale?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say that
I helped build that South Big Lake to Burma Road connection about 2015 or whatever. And then that year and also the next year, we built a road out there. And when we built Bogard Road, we put culvert in right around the equestrian acre horse crossing. And it sounds very much to me like Burma Road needs something quite similar to that. And you know, I got quite a bit of overtime putting that 9-foot culvert in. So, you know.
Plug for work. Okay, good work. Comments, Mr. Sumner?
Mr. Mayor, you had mentioned that we are legally obligated to advertise with the frontiersmen. We're legally obligated to advertise our meetings, not necessarily with the frontiersmen. Just, yeah, that's all I had. But that's not to say. Yeah, I don't necessarily think we should use the ADN.
Quibble about the small stuff. Okay, Mr. McKee? See, Ms. Snowers?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to thank all the people who came out and testified tonight. Having covered the Iditarod a couple times, I've been on the back of a sled. I can testify to the need for brakes on those lead dogs. You can invent those, please. You know, I that just kind of hits me and getting hit and whatever we can do about it. The only thing that gives me a little pause is just the cost, you know, 700, 800,000. In my district, we have things with, you know, safe bike paths. And I mean, there's a lot of issues out there. And I just think with all the community support, I think this is something we need to do. It'd be great if there's, you know, the mushing community, I know they do a lot, but if there's ways that to help that, make that a reality. And then I just want to say, I really appreciate, I know an issue came up at the last meeting about the budget document, people being able to download that. And I really appreciate that the staff took the time to make that file a little smaller so people can access it easier, because it sounds like it's such a big file. There's no way over there on Cheyenne's desk. It's a pretty big file, but into that. Thank you.
Miss Bovee, did I forget you? No comments, good. Well, I'll just, Barb Reddington said she wanted to thank the borough, and I think the Department of Public Works and Mr. Dolan got right on the Burma Road crossing, and I want to thank Assembler too, because he was right out there in person and tried to correct as much as I could this winter, as fast as I could. Obviously, the future of that road is higher. So anyway, I want to thank for letting us use your fine facility here. We really do appreciate it. So Madam Mayor, thank you very much. And with that, we will adjourn at what time, Madam Clerk? 7:09, and we'll re-adjourn next Tuesday night, regular summer meeting.